So hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Julia, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing part 2 of Raising Asia, episodes 8 through 10. This is actually going to be 3 videos. I said in the last video that it was only going to be 2, but it has to be 3. There's so much to cover, including the infamous fall. We gotta talk. We gotta talk about all of that. So if you haven't watched part 1, be sure to go check it out. I'll leave a link below and in the description. So episode 8 of Raising Asia starts with the crew is still in Vegas and she's singing her original song. So everyone in the studio really likes Asia's song and they think that Asia sounds really good. Sean has to end up leaving early, but he's leaving feeling confident about Asia's impending performance. So again, Anthony expresses disappointment in the fact that Sean basically handed the reins to Billy for this performance, and he feels like the Rays act scared of Billy. So he feels like Sean and Christy are afraid of Billy and they basically hang on his every word, which I think is such an interesting turn given the fact that Sean didn't trust Billy for the longest time. So I just think that's interesting. So Anthony basically says that he's just gonna stick around for this phase to pass. So he feels like the Rays being very trusting and loving Billy is just a phase. So he's just gonna wait for it to pass.
We all know Asia's little kid incorporated, but I'm gonna stick around and wait for this phase to pass.
Which is so, I don't know, it sounds kind of conniving to me, but okay. He then reveals that Kelly Rowland actually wants Asia to open up for her. Basically, he booked Asia performance to open up for Kelly Rowland at the Long Beach Pride Festival. So then we kind of go into just the preparation for Asia's Planet Hollywood performance, all the different back and forth that the family's going through to try to get Asia ready. And so Asia feels really ready and confident, but it feels like everyone's trying to make her nervous. Everyone keeps asking her, are you not nervous? Are you not worried? Are you not scared? And she's like, I'm fine guys, like relax, I'm all good.
Are you nervous?
No, this is big. This is big because you're singing for the first time.
I know, but I'm not nervous, and you guys are creeping me out by all your questions.
So I get that like Gina meant well and that she was just trying to, you know, make sure that Asia was feeling okay, but it just felt like they were all trying to put fear in her. And already Asia's under a lot of pressure. She's under a lot of pressure as a kid. And so to then try to make it worse and exacerbate it by saying, are you sure you're not nervous? Are you sure you're not nervous? Are you sure you're okay? Are you sure you're okay? It's like, it's really annoying. I can't imagine like how frustrating that has to feel. Like no matter how many times you say you're fine, people keep trying to make it seem like you're not. And I'm like, at this point, you're just projecting. At this point, you're projecting. And Christy says that this Anthony versus Billy drama is actually really good because it allows them to keep trying to outdo each other, and that's just going to be better for Asia. And then she talks about how like Asia needs to be really focused on this Planet Hollywood performance and she can worry about Kelly Rowland later, because if she does really well for this performance, she's going to be the pop star that she's always wanted to be. And I'm like, really? The pop star that she's always wanted to be, or the pop star you've always wanted her to be? The pop star you've always wanted her to be. Not her. Asia then starts stressing out in the dressing room when they're trying to do her hair, and any black or mixed race girl can relate. I mean, the kind of fights that my mom and I used to go through, it's sad thinking back, because I'm like, y'all just didn't know how to handle natural hair, didn't y'all? She's just stressing so much about her hair and it's just making everything worse. And Christy said everyone's gonna watch her being a brat, and she keeps taunting her and making it worse.
Right now, you're not doing yourself a favor. Everyone's watching, they're gonna have to see her act like a little brat, so she
Stop it, Mom. Stop it. Can you go? Please, just give me a time by myself.
Really? Really, Asia? You really?
Mom, can you please leave because you give everybody stress?
Really? Really?
Just
Okay.
leave, Mom. Please stop. Please.
Are you kidding me? You know what happened here? It's
What?
because you have an attitude right now.
No, stop it, Mom.
Really, Asia?
So Christy just kept taunting Asia, saying, look at how terrible you're being. Look at how much you're misbehaving. Look at how everyone's going to see you being a brat. And so she's just making Asia more and more stressed. She's freaking her out. She's stressing her out. She's crying. And Gina's freaking out because she's literally like, I don't know what to do. It's getting worse. I feel helpless. And so she runs to get Billy to try to mitigate and kind of calm the situation down. I think what really frustrated me too is that Asia was being so communicative. Despite her being stressed out and crying and angry, she was trying to communicate that she just needs some time, and her mom kept pushing her. It's like if she says she needs her alone time, give her space. If she says, Mom, please leave right now. I've noticed, I feel like parents, especially I think of an older generation, I feel like a lot of times when you say like, please leave me alone, please leave me, they really see that as disrespect. I've been on the receiving end of that, you know, like. So Christy did say in her talking point that she's a mother first and she's not going to tolerate disrespect from Asia. So again, she saw it as disrespect. I also wanted to mention that I saw a comment on my last video that said that basically the reason why they think Christy kept getting set off was because she felt like everyone was acting brand new for the cameras. So for example, Sean probably wasn't as interested in Asia's career before the show. Anthony probably wasn't interested in trying to become manager before the show. And so she probably was just frustrated with the switch in narratives and also producer meddling. And I get so annoyed when people bring up producer meddling for this show in particular, because while I acknowledge that that's can be true and that can happen, I feel like for Christy, it's like she would just go off on the drop of a hat. It was like the littlest things would set her off that didn't even have anything to do with production. So I just feel like, I do think deep down she really was caring and she really loved her family and everything, but she just had such unhealthy coping mechanisms and like ways to deal with her frustrations. It's seen as disrespect if you say you need some time alone to calm down, but I really think that if your kid needs time, like if they're stressed out, if you're in the middle of an argument and they're just saying, hey, please leave so I can like collect myself, honor that. Because you're just gonna make it worse. You're just gonna make it worse. So then Asia performed at Planet Hollywood and her performance was really good, but Anthony felt that the performance was incredibly dated. He thought it was old, he thought it was lame. And then basically Gina told Sean what happened and he acknowledged that it was traumatic, dramatic, and stressful. So he told Christy that he really just wants her to step back and let the pros do their job. So that was episode 8 of Raising Asia, and that was a very stressful episode, incredibly stressful. So in episode 9 of Raising Asia, Asia is rehearsing to perform at the Long Beach Pride Festival and open up for Kelly Rowland. And so they feel that this performance is very important because it's really going to be reaching out to the LGBTQ plus community, and it's really going to kind of just expose Asia to different audiences. So Asia's practicing with Raquel, who's filling in for Anthony who couldn't make it, and it seemed like she liked Raquel better than Anthony, or is that how you say it? Raquel? I'm pretty sure it was Raquel. It seems like she liked Raquel better than Anthony, which was kind of funny.
Jaquel's really, really good. Hate to break it to you, but he's kind of better than Anthony.
Anthony's stuck in an airport overnight and won't be able to make it that day to rehearsal, so Sean decides to hand the reins to Billy, which Anthony fiercely objects to. He doesn't want Billy to have full creative control, and given the fact that he booked the performance. He wants to be the creative director despite not being there for the first day. So again, and a lot of y'all were just kind of really coming for Anthony in the last video, which I completely agree. I think he deserves all the smoke because this whole time Anthony's been trying to force this Beyonce thing and really sexualize Asia, and it's disgusting. Like, and I kept saying in the comments, I'm like, Beyonce didn't become Beyonce overnight. Beyonce became Beyonce after decades of practice. She was in a girl group. She was in a whole girl group. We had DC4, then DC3, and then there was all the Destiny's Child drama. I mean, she went through a lot to become the Beyonce we know today. And so I hate how Anthony was trying to fast track Asia, and she was 8 years old. She's practically a baby. She had like the baby cheeks, the big, like the baby teeth. I mean, come on, it was crazy. It was so crazy. Anthony says he feels like Asia's song Go Back isn't the right audience for the Pride Festival. He thinks that Asia should dance to something really memorable. So then Sean and Anthony then have an argument about how Anthony's overstepping, but Anthony feels like he's not just a choreographer, but a creator. So again, Anthony's having this big head where he's like, I'm coming with all this experience and I feel like everyone needs to be listening to me. I have all this expertise. I'm more young, I'm hip, I'm modern, I'm all these things. And he's getting so frustrated that people aren't really listening and really gravitating towards his opinion. Anthony then wonders if Sean feels intimidated by him because he's taller, which made no sense to me. I was like,
I'm not sure why Sean feels so threatened by me.
He's a dancer, he's not doing music too.
Maybe because I'm a taller man? I'm not sure.
how does that correlate? How does that correlate? How does that correlate your height? Sean is a whole bodybuilder. Why would he be intimidated by someone who's taller than him? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Are you for real? So again, I don't really like Anthony or Billy for reasons I stated in part 1, but again, Anthony's not the manager here. I get where he's coming from, but he's not the manager. So then Anthony decides to step up the choreography by adding an intro and a dance break. So he decides to add an intro and a dance break with different music. And so he is really just trying to fluff up this performance and make it more hip and make it more cool and make it more, just a lot, fresher for the Pride crowd. So again, he does this behind Billy and Sean and Christy's back, which causes all that drama. And then we get into the most infamous scene of the show. He's trying to teach Asia this move, and he literally drops Asia, but then says that she fell.
Here, you want to take your arms up.
baby?
She fell.
Where?
No idea.
The funny thing is that you can hear Anthony say, I tossed her. You can literally hear him saying, I tossed her. So I don't even know why he would say she fell when he literally just, he yeeted this girl. He was like, yo, I don't give a crap about this before. I'm sick. Y'all are coming at me. Boom. Look, I don't give a crap about y'all. Boom. Boom. I'ma just throw you across the room. I'ma just, you know what? Cause who gives a crap? He was done. You could, he did that with such like, bro, like I've never seen someone be so careless, especially of a little kid. And it's like, he didn't even teach Asia how to land properly. He just threw her, across the United States pretty much. So then Asia then says in an interview later on, so this is after raising Asia, I actually saw an interview with her, which I'll cover more in part 3. She was on a podcast and she talked about how she was crying because she fell on her mic pack. And so then Asia does her performance at the Pride Festival and Billy is totally thrown off by the dance break and he just feels like it looks really mature. Which it did. All of Asia's dances are inappropriate, immature, and not for her age. Like all of her dances are just too much. And she was really groomed to be this like fierce little Beyonce, this obedient powerhouse, and literally not even have like a real mind of her own or real independent thoughts or anything like that. So why are we surprised at this point?
Okay, so I don't want to say that Asia didn't have a mind of her own, because from her podcast interview, you can tell that she really appreciated her childhood. You can tell that she was really grateful for the experiences that she had. However, I don't think it's far-fetched to say, no, not far-fetched, it was true that she was conditioned. I feel like she was highly conditioned to be this way. I think with her parents being bodybuilders, fitness people, you know, she just had this natural, strong iron will. And I feel like her having that strong resiliency, I feel was definitely, people definitely took advantage of that. I feel like a lot of these adults kind of took advantage of it and sort of pushed her to the max. She claims that she really enjoyed it, but again, she burnt out. So, you know, everything in life requires balance. And I just think that I just wish that she had been allowed to kind of have a more relaxed and chill, laid back, childlike mindset.
All right, so then we get into episode 10 of Raising Asia, and Asia is working on a song with Billy. So then Sean, Christy, Billy, and Anthony have a meeting about the change music, and then Anthony says he barely changed anything. Anthony then says that he feels like things will be a disaster about him because Sean is getting really fired up by Anthony constantly overstepping, and Sean feels like he wants to get rid of Anthony. Sean then decides he really wants to take more control, so he volunteers to switch places with Christy for a day. So this scene gets crazy because Christy's taking Bella to school, but she realizes that Bella still has her mic on, and she gets angry, and Sean comes out and says that they'll take the mic off when they get to the school parking lot. He says, talk to your daughter on the way to school. Good grief.
Trunk, are you mic'd? Get her mic off, please. If you guys make her late for school, this is the last time I'm taking her to school. They need to take her mic off before she goes to school.
No, you can take it off when you get her to the school, okay? Just get in the parking lot, take it off when you let her out of the car, okay? Talk to your daughter on the way to school. Thank you.
I am.
So basically, like, they're in the car and Christy's freaking out because the mic is still on her, but he's just like, yo, just talk to your daughter on the way to school. Just have like a regular conversation with your 6-year-old. Just talk to her on the way to school. Goodness, like, you could just tell Sean's just like, yo, good grief, I'm over this. Like, oh my goodness. Asia then goes into dance rehearsal for Ricky Palomino, and Sean, however, forgot to bring any dance clothes for Asia. So Sean's already realizing that a lot goes into Asia's rehearsals and Asia's life. I mean, he completely forgot the dance clothes, and then Ricky's like, oh my gosh, Dad, like, you forgot, da-da-da-da.
Right there, and do you have dance clothes on?
I'm wearing this, practicing with this.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna practice in that? Let's start out of it so we don't get it dirty.
I don't have any other dances.
Dad.
He realizes that this is a lot more than he realized. So Christy then takes Bella to gymnastics, and Bella in her talking head said that she hates it. So I'm over here wondering, why do you have Bella doing gymnastics when she hates gymnastics? I like how blunt she was about it. She's like, I hate it.
But right now I'm doing gymnastics, and I hate it.
So then, you know, basically Bella speaks about how she doesn't like being pushed like Asia. And Christy later says that Bella really isn't that type of child. Bella needs kind of more nurturing and more care and more sensitivity because Bella's a softer kid. And so here's my thing with that. So I understand what Christy's saying about the fact that Bella is softer and Bella is more sensitive. But the thing is, they're both little girls. They're both kids, and Asia might be able to handle criticism better and handle constructive criticism. That doesn't mean that Asia doesn't need that doting mother energy that Bella gets. You know what I mean? Like, I get that kids are different. You can raise your 2 or 3 kids in the same house, raise them the exact same way, and because we're all different and unique, we're all gonna have completely different personalities. The kids are gonna turn out completely different. My brother and I, we're 2 totally different people. And my parents had to handle us 2 completely different ways. I still think that, you know, you need to kind of have a balance with kids, you know? Asia's then dancing with Ricky, and she's nervous because she's doing contemporary when she's used to doing jazz and hip hop. So she's being pushed out of another dance style in between all the other things she had to do. So I kind of was like, really like, dang, they're putting a new style on her with all these performances and all this stuff she has to do. Like, dang, this girl doesn't have enough to do in a day. So then again, at Bella's gymnastics, Bella's crying, Bella's freaking out because she really doesn't like being pushed. And that's when Christy kind of talks again about needing to be more motherly and sensitive with Bella versus Asia. And like I said earlier, I definitely understand where she's coming from because they're 2 different people and so they need 2 different parenting styles. But I still feel like Christy needs to find balance and still be motherly to Asia as well, because Asia can put on a tough exterior, but she's still a little kid. She's still a little 8-year-old child, and all kids need that mothering, doting energy. I'm sure she knew that, of course. Like, I'm not trying to act as if Christy was ignorant of that, but I think that's how it came across on the show.
As a mom, I have different relationships with my daughters. With Asia, I work as someone that keeps her in line. With Bella, she's more sensitive, and I just have to be more motherly.
I think the only time Christy was kind of soft with Asia is when she got yeeted by Anthony. I think that was the only time I could tell that Christy was like, oh no, what's wrong, baby? It's okay. Like, da-da-da-da. Like, that's the only time I feel like I saw that really motherly energy towards Asia. So it's just interesting. So then Ricky then gives Sean notes about Asia's rehearsal. So then Sean basically says, like, this was so much, I pretty much forgot everything that he told me. So Ricky had so many different notes for Sean, and Sean just was like checked out, which a typical dad. Like, I remember when I used to do ballet as a kid, that was the same thing with my dad. Like, he would just be so checked out by the end. He's like, wait, what? Like, okay, she needs to have a stronger core. Oh, okay. Like, it's such a dad thing, I feel like. Sean then just takes time away to let Asia be a kid. They decide to go go-karting together, to which Asia says that her mom would never let her go-kart. So I thought this was really sweet, and I thought that this was really good on Sean to just give Asia time to just be a kid and just have fun. I really appreciated that about Sean, that he had that presence of mind to do that, because I think another thing that I've realized is that when it comes with parents and children and like the dynamic, the thing is, I feel like us as kids, especially when you grow up, you're gonna remember stuff like that. Like, you're gonna be able to look down the road and be like, oh, I remember when me and mom went here and did this. I remember when me and dad went here and did this. Like, you're gonna remember those things. Like, and obviously you're gonna remember the stress too, but you wanna have good memories with your parents. Like, you wanna have good memories of like just doing things with your kids. That's why like I'm such a huge advocate that like when I become a mom one day, like I want to try to bond with my kids as much as possible and do all different kinds of things with them, because I held tons of memories with my parents doing things with me, and I want to pass that on to my kids. You know, I want to do even more than they did. But what's really sad is that Asia said she wants more downtime, but that Beyonce didn't become Beyonce by go-karting all day.
Sometimes I feel that I need some more off time and to slow things down, but I don't think Beyonce would be where she is now if she was go-karting all day.
I want to acknowledge that she most likely was told to say that, or it was probably something she had just heard her parents echoing to her constantly, so she's just repeating it. At the end of the day, I don't think that was really an independent thought, or she was kind of, you know, conditioned to think that way.
And that was really annoying because she said the same thing in one of the first episodes where she's like, Beyonce didn't become Beyonce by going to the park. The red carpet is my park, and da-da-da-da. And it's just like, again, she's so desensitized into thinking that all she needs to do is perform, and that wanting to be a kid and doing kid things isn't okay or isn't normal, or, oh, like, this isn't gonna pay the bills, essentially. It's just sad. It's like, wow, like, you're so attached to your work and you're just a kid. So then Billy and Anthony then have a meeting to work things out between them. And Anthony feels like he wants to be a creative director because he has experience working with Beyonce, Destiny's Child, Rihanna, etc. And he feels like the music they make for Asia is stuck in the 80s. So then Billy kind of gives this whole story about how he got started in the industry and that he got himself off the streets on cardboard. And then Anthony says that that's stupid. They basically shake hands and agree that Billy is the boss, and Anthony kind of concedes and allows Billy to be the boss. Asia's then about to perform for this like play called Daylight Come, and Sean wants to speak to Asia backstage, but Christy argues a bit and then eventually leaves. So she argues about Sean wanting to talk to his daughter, which again is weird because it's like, that's his daughter. Like, he should be allowed to talk to her before she goes on stage. Asia then decides to eat a few goldfish before going on stage, and then Sean and Christy flip out about that. She literally just ate a couple goldfish and they're freaking out as if like, oh my gosh, you can't eat that before you go on stage, da 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 da. And it's like, it's a few goldfish, it's not gonna kill her.
You don't want a bunch of food in your mouth right now. Not when we're getting ready to go up. What do you think Mom's gonna say when I tell her you're back here snacking on a bunch of stuff right before you perform?
So then she does this performance, it's great, and that's the end of episode 10. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really enjoyed talking about Raising Asia. We're gonna be kind of concluding this series in the next video, so part 3. I'm gonna be talking more about Asia's like appearance. A lot of people have been commenting about her Instagram and talking just about how they feel like Asia looks too grown for a 17-year-old. So we're gonna get into that in part 3, but I thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.